Hello everybody, Mike here. Doing a new segment right now. It's called My Two Cents, where essentially, sorry, it's my bird Zippy. He's a cockatiel. He's getting into a flap over things. As I was saying, I'm starting a new segment called My Two Cents, where I'm gonna tell you my personal opinions on what I think of a video game or video game franchise. And since we got Sly Cooper Thieves in Time coming out tomorrow, words cannot describe how excited I am for it. So I figured, what better way to honor it than to tell you what I think of the Sly Cooper franchise. Personally, it's my second favorite out of anything, the first being Ratchet and Clank, but Sly Cooper comes very close. I mean, I just love the fact that with the anthropomorphic animals in there, in this whole like world where everything's an anthropomorphic animal. I've always loved that about what they do with cartoons and stuff. But when the first game came out, the very first time I played Sly Cooper was at one of my friend's houses. He had somebody bring over the game and we just played it, and I thought it was really good. I mean, there's the system they had where it goes from like the lives of we go like through lives and like one-hit kills and stuff like that. While stuff like that can be annoying, like in other games of the time, other certain games of the time, I really think it was actually okay here. It's not just because of nostalgia, but just because it had such a really great history and atmosphere going around it. Just their method of storytelling that really did work. You have Sly Cooper, who's a raccoon. He's a master thief who only steals from other thieves. He comes from a huge ancestry of thieves just like him. His parents got killed by a horrific gang called the Fiendish Five. They stole his thievish raccoon, who holds all of his family's secrets, and took it away to far corners of the earth. And then Sly meets his new best friends in the orphanage, a turtle named Bentley, and then Murray the hippopotamus. And they form like a very strong connection as friends. And I really think something like that's really, really cool. I mean, how else can I explain this? It was just such a good setup, and then the bosses that they face are just really enjoyable too. Like, I think the most standout ones were Mugshot, and then there was Ms. Ruby. They were probably the most memorable ones too that I've seen. And with oh yeah, the clue bottles that they had in the game were actually fun too. They added some new gameplay elements, some replayability value. And then when you collect them all, you get like a new ability that you can use in the game, and that was pretty nice. It added some more flavor, and however, it was just like your typical sort of game of the genre. You find these treasure keys and through like these linear style levels. Of course, one-hit kills that on enemies and you. I mean, that was just how things were at the time. It's not really anything spectacular, but it was always frustrating, and it can be a little frustrating even here, despite how simple Sly Cooper is. I mean, that's what I love about it. It's just like everything's simple. I mean, you don't need a brain to figure out the plot line of Sly Cooper. I mean, that's what I've always loved about it. Just like something easy that I can follow along with. And yeah, what more can I explain? It was my computer. It was just a lot of fun. It really provided some great joy that a lot of us had in our childhood, and it's definitely a good game to have whenever you just want to relive the days of, I guess, how games were back then, because you don't really see too many games of that genre nowadays because I guess they don't market as well. Now, Sly 2, on the other hand, really did change things up big time. I mean, it's now an open world kind of thing. You can, like, you have health bars now. That's a huge improvement. You get to do some more free roaming, and there are, like, much more sophisticated enemies, and, like, the characters are more sophisticated. You get to play as Bentley and Murray now, which is pretty good, using all three characters who have a different set of moves and, like, abilities. Since Bentley he uses sleep darts and bombs and is generally weaker than the other characters, while Murray's the strongest character who can pick stuff up and throw them at enemies and objects. It's a lot of fun. And something else that I noticed about the game is that they did have clue bottles in that game too, and then they had like another game, like a gang that you have to face called the Claw Gang. And I really did like those characters a lot more than the Fiendish Five, because in the Claw Gang there was Dimitri, there was Rajan, and my personal favorite, Arpeggio. They were all like really great standout villains. They were all really awesome. and the premise is beyond incredible. Clockwork, the villain from the first game, his body parts, like the mechanics of his body parts, get like taken to the Cairo Museum because, see, that's a good idea. Sly goes down to destroy them when he finds out that the Claw Gang has taken all the Clockwork parts to use as different tools of crime, which does set Sly off on a good adventure to take down each member one by one to reclaim all the Clockwork parts. And then at the end, they do have a really solid twist where Arpeggio, the main guy, he like double crosses everybody for like this huge scheme to make himself immortal, and using Clockwork is like that sort of frame to cause people to go into a huge hatred of hypnosis. They are hypnotized, and everyone becomes so filled with hatred that the hatred fuels Arpeggio and makes him immortal even longer. I mean, that's a great setup. As far as its originality, I'm very convinced that this is a new original setup. I mean, it's just so amazing, and that's why Sly 2's the best by far, arguably. But hey, I mean, I personally think it's the best. Sly 3, on the other hand, there's no way I can say it's a bad game, but it's definitely the least good. First of all, there are no clue bottles. Disappointment. There are, oh yeah, there are no, like, gangs. Like, the villains in the game are not, like, connected to one another. They're just, like, standalone. I mean, that was okay, I guess. Even though some of them weren't really explained very well, or just had, like, a really poor backstory, like Octavio. I mean, they were all okay. I mean, they had some pretty interesting times. They were, some of them were pretty funny. Like, there was, General Tsao. I liked him. It's the fact that he's a chicken and his name is General Tsao makes it all the more funny, because, I mean, that's my favorite Chinese dish. I love General Tsao chicken. And, excuse me. What was also kind of weird, it's like, there's also 3D in the game. I mean, on the PlayStation 2 version, I wasn't really fond of it because it was not really done as well as you would hoped it would be. I mean, granted, some parts did look pretty cool in the game, but it's just like you're playing a game in 3D. I mean, it's like, not as interesting as you would hope, but it's okay. No, I think I finally just figured it out. The reason why Sly 3 is so much more vibrant and colorful as opposed to previous games is because it does that to compensate for the 3D. I mean, the better you can see something in the game, the better the 3D quality is going to be. I just figure that out. It's, but still, I mean, the glasses that you get are like the red and white, red and blue sort of thing that you wear, and then it just comes out as like a weird 3D image. It's not. It would have been better if they had, like, 3D quality like they did in the movies. I mean, when you're wearing, like, the red and blue, it just feels awkward, and then, like, when you take them off, one of your eyes keeps having, like, this red hue while the other has a blue hue, and it's just like, ugh. But anyways, oh yeah, this new the storyline of Sly 3, generally weaker, but it definitely did pick up by the final part of the game. When it started off, like, at the beginning of the end, no, literally, the beginning of the end, I hate stories that do that, because it just puts you in, like, a weird place, like, what's going on here? And after it was done, I said, I don't care. I don't care. So then I just kept going on, but until we finally got to the end, I said, oh, okay, that's how it made sense. I mean, yeah, I just don't really think it fit in very well in that case, but overall, it was... when we finally did get to the end of the game, the story really did start to stand out. It was actually a really good, interesting conflict between Dr. M, who was the main antagonist, who worked with Sly's father as a gang. Then he tries to win Bentley over to his side because he feels like they're equal, and since Sly's father apparently wasn't very nice to Dr. M in the past, he feels that all Coopers are the same and they're just conceited and arrogant, and now he just tries to steal their fortune. And that's also a pretty interesting setup how they have going there. It's just like, again, kind of a plot hole here. Very foolish to think that at the end a giant hole got blasted through the back entrance of the inner sanctum, and he never figured that out. So it's, I don't know, like, yeah, there are plot holes in the game, like, nothing too serious. I mean, hey, it's Sly Cooper. I mean, I don't want to be overthinking anything in this game. I mean, it should be speaking for itself. I mean, I really do think that as far as the the story and the characters are going. It's really, really cool that you have Carmelita, even though I felt like some of it was a little rushed. I mean, in fact, the whole game did seem a little bit rushed. Maybe that was just because they were trying to start their work on Infamous. But, I mean, overall, I thought that they're less of a focus on stealth. Didn't exactly make it feel like a full Sly Cooper game, if that makes any sense. I mean, it still was Sly Cooper, without a question, but just like throwing all these new elements in, then we have like too many characters, I feel, that are competing for gameplay opportunities. Like, have you noticed that it's like the Guru almost doesn't play a part from like the beginning of the 4th level all the way to the end? I mean, it's like, what happened to him? First time I was like, half the time I was wondering, like, what happened to the other characters? I mean, we still have the Guru and the Panda King. I mean, where did they go? Are they around? They're just not here? I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like some of it was a little cluttered. Like, you only got to play as the Panda King twice. I mean, that's a shame. I kind of liked him. And then there was Dimitri. Some people say his gameplay was a letdown. I personally think it was okay. I mean, I didn't have any issues with it. I just wish maybe we could have seen a little bit more of him. Like, not necessarily during his diving sequences, but maybe it could have been a little better. Whether or not he's going to be a playable character in the next game is uncertain right now. That wasn't divulged. And, getting back to my statement on originality, am I the only one that's noticed that, like, perhaps the inspiration for Sly Cooper may have been based on a anime called Lupin the Third? I don't know. For some strange reason, I've only noticed 2 people to actually bring that up. One was my friend Jake, and the other was Glenn Egan from Sanzaru. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was a trend. I have no idea. But overall, the story is definitely original by what I see. I mean, it's definitely really, really interesting. And I still love it. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, now with this new game coming out, we have the whole new hype of what the PlayStation 3 can do. Kind of like our expectations with Ratchet and Clank when that first came out on PlayStation 3. I'm just really hoping that this is definitely going to be what meets all of our expectations and what's going to be a ton of fun. We're all going to love it. And after I play it, I'll be sure to give you a review next week. Alright, that's my 2 cents on Sly Cooper, and hope you have a good day.